Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story comes from AmIOverreacting subreddit from Gems138, and it says, "Am I overreacting? My girlfriend left me over a cheese wheel. I, 27 male, and my girlfriend, 26 female, was saving for a house down payment. I work and she is unemployed. I've saved 32,000 and she has saved 4,000. So I feel like I bear the brunt of the financial decision making here. I was doing the Oxford County Cheese Trail and I found a vault release. They were selling a £140 wheel of 21-year-old cheddar. It was aged using a traditional cloth-bound method that's practically extinct here in Canada, and with over 21 years is extremely concentrated. 21-year-old cheddar often sells for $120 a pound. The farm was selling the entire wheel for $18,500. If I cut it into 200-gram wedges and sell it at $60 each, I can make $38,000. I bought the cheese wheel and brought it home in my truck. When I rolled it into our apartment, at first she was excited. When I started to explain the financials and investment potential, she turned sour. She didn't yell, but expressed she wasn't happy about how I spent my share of our house savings. She is now staying with her parents. I think she's overreacting because she doesn't understand the Canadian housing market. Our savings is not enough for a down payment without a ridiculous mortgage, and we need to take these opportunities. Am I overreacting, or am I the only one with ambition in our relationship? TLDR, my girlfriend is staying with her parents because I spent my share of our savings on a cheese wheel, which can be cut into wedges and sold for a sizable profit. Thank you." So OP added some comments below this. The first one said, "I've got to figure out how to open the darn thing still." Another one says, "I haven't figured out how to open it yet. It's covered in thick wax. It looks like a cannonball. I've tried using a hairdryer and a knife, but I can't get into it." Another one says, "It's not rind, it's paraffin wax. It's 21-year aged cheddar, so the wax is brittle and hard. The texture is like a cannonball, not the shape." Another one says, "This is a 21-year-old cheddar. It has a thick black wax and it's hard with hairline fractures from the cheese expanding and contracting over 21 years. It's a heritage cheese, not some run-of-the-mill Parmesan." Another one says, "You're dividing the 140 pounds by 7 ounces, but you're forgetting that there are 16 ounces in a pound. So if you divide the 140 by 7, the 7 goes into 14 twice. Also, the cheese will not spoil. After 21 years, all the moisture has been replaced by calcium lactate crystals. Once the wax seal is broken, I'll be putting it in my chest freezer." Another one says, "You can't compare this heritage cheese to a grocery store commodity. The scarcity dictates the price. She doesn't have any overheads because I pay the bills. Hence why I feel that it's acceptable for me to make the financial decisions like investing in high yield assets, like the traditional cloth-bound 21-aged Oxford Heritage Cheddar Wheel." First commenter said to OP, Bro, this sounds like something Michael Scott would do." Another commenter says, "I'm not going to buy a wedge of cheese from some rando selling it on Facebook Marketplace." Currently got this image of OP walking down the street with a long trench coat with opens it up and there's loads of cheese. Another commenter says, "You say this cheese often sells for $120 a pound, yet you actually paid $132 a pound for it. In that case, it sounds to me like you overpaid and could struggle to turn a profit off it." Next you say, quoting, "If I cut it into 200-gram wedges and sell it for $60 each, I can make $38,000. Then says 200 grams is 7 ounces. You could get a maximum of 320 7-ounce slices out of the 140-pound wheel, assuming zero waste. At $60 each, that would get you $19,200, not $38,000. Your math is totally off for one thing, and I suspect you're going to struggle to find hundreds of customers willing to pay $60 for 7 ounces of cheese, so most likely you will lose money from this venture. That said, your money is yours to do what you want with. But if you have a partner you're planning a future with, it's a bad idea to make big decisions like this without running it by them first. breeds distrust, resentment, instability, etc. You're supposed to discuss things together and make decisions together. That's how partnerships work. In this case, maybe your partner could have checked your math and explained how far off your numbers were and saved you from your costly mistake. You're overreacting. Another commenter says you spent $18,500 on cheese with no actual plan on how you're going to recoup that outside of, yeah, I can totally sell this. 140 pounds equals 63,500 grams. You're talking about selling 200 gram wedges. That would require you to prepare, package, and sell 317 units without any kind of market presence. Incidentally, your math is way off. Selling 317 wedges at $60 each comes to $19,050, which nets you a whopping $650 for what will surely be weeks of work on the completely off chance you manage to sell everything. Enjoy being the human equivalent of a craft single. And one more commenter, I could keep reading the comments on this all day. It says, I feel like this post will go down in Reddit infamy. This is absurd. Hope you prove us all wrong, but dropping over half your net worth on a product you have no experience selling, which also has a shelf life to it, was a very bad idea. You lost yourself in the what if instead of making a rational choice. Again, hope you prove everyone here wrong and at least make your money back. But I don't know, man. As a consumer, I'm not buying a pound of cheese from a random dude who doesn't even have a storefront or any sort of guaranteed practices to make sure the product is reasonably maintained. Good luck, hombre. Wild post. People are absolutely right though. Who's going to be rocking up to his house trying to get a bit of cheese that's probably just wrapped in some cling film? So it was 6 days later that OP came back into the post and says, I've taken some of your feedback into consideration from my last post. For those curious, my girlfriend is no longer in the picture. She cracked due to low risk tolerance, so I've decided to go all in on the business. I initially tried to return the wheel to the distributor to recoup some capital, thinking they'd have some pity. They were actually considering it until they came out to look at it in my truck. Apparently the minor heat damage I caused to the paraffin wax while trying to open last week compromised the wheel, which was already non-refundable in the first place. Since I'm now stuck with 140 pounds, 30,000 plus asset, I had to pivot to asset protection and keep what I still have. I went out and bought a true TBB-2-HC59 solid door back bar cooler, a professional digital temperature humidity controller, an industrial humidifier, a vacuum sealer, and ripening mats. Oh, stop. Total cost was about $8,500 after taxes. Expensive, yes, but I wasn't going to let a $30,000 plus investment depreciate value. The delivery was difficult. My apartment door is narrow, so I had to take the door entirely off the hinges and shimmy the cooler into the living room. I had maybe a millimeter of clearance between the frame and the unit. I was exhausted and excited, so I started researching installation on my phone before putting my front door back on. That's when my landlord walked in. Apparently he believes my door being off the hinges somehow removes my reasonable right to privacy. We already have a strained relationship because of my own use of the unit. He still holds a grudge because I was doing some light metal fabrication with a consumer plasma cutter in my kitchen a few months ago. He saw the cooler, the vacuum sealer, and the wheel of heritage cheese and started crying about commercial operations and fire hazards. I told him very clearly, the cheese is for personal consumption. There is nothing in my lease that limits how much dairy a tenant can own. The next morning I found an eviction notice in my mailbox. It's riddled with spelling errors as if it's written in haste. I'm already preparing my defense for the landlord-tenant board. Am I overreacting? I'm being evicted over dietary preferences as far as the landlord is concerned, and I feel like this is an unlawful action. Edit. Added a plus to the valuation, as it's possible to increase my margins depending on the quantities I sell in. Also, please bear in mind that I have sold 0 cheese, so I feel like this is a premature action. Thank you. And obviously, people were questioning the validity of this post, but OP did. I won't share the images, but OP did share the images of the cheese with some, it looked like duct tape over it, with their username next to it, a picture of the eviction note, and also a receipt of the cheese that was worth 18,400 Canadian dollars. Wild. And I got to say, I'm absolutely fascinated with this story. And there's people mix in the comments, some people hoping that, he genuinely does make a profit after this, but there is people chiming in saying there's no chance. Even people that's cheesemongers are coming in and saying, people will pay a lot of money for cheese, but not from someone on a street corner or the internet. But bloody hell. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. Now, our next story, it comes from glumchance4225 from the Am I the Arsehole Here subreddit. And it's titled, Am I the Arsehole Here for eating my breakfast in front of my boyfriend's dad? I do want an actual fair judgment, so for full disclosure, I do not like this guy. I've never liked this guy. I've known him since I was a kid and everything about him just annoys me. I don't think I outwardly express it, but he probably doesn't think he outwardly expresses how much he doesn't like me either, and he definitely does. I'm trying to be fair in the way I explain the situation, but he'd probably tell a different story. I work at the same company as my boyfriend's dad. I don't work for him. He isn't my boss. He's above me in the hierarchy, but not directly. You got to be at a 45-degree angle to get to him from me. We still see each other often and work together sometimes, but that's just the nature of what we do. After my boyfriend and I first started dating officially, he told me that when he told his dad about us, he said, "You can't date that guy. We work together." Okay, well, nobody needs your permission. He was never particularly nice to me before, but since he glares at me whenever he sees me, I do my best to ignore him. But it's pretty unprofessional. Speaking of professionalism and the lack thereof, I've been written up twice for tardiness. This isn't a huge deal. It isn't great. It means I probably won't get promoted this year. I'm one of those people that think, I have plenty of time. Oh shit, I'm running late. Like the time between doing good and running late doesn't exist. Yes, I know I have ADHD. My boyfriend, because he's awesome, has tried to help me in whatever way he can. He makes these breakfast burritos, freezes them, and puts one in the oven every morning while I'm getting ready. I take them to work with me and eat them during my commute or when I get to the office. Efficiency. This morning I was standing in the office, eating my burrito, loving life, when my boyfriend's dad saw me. This time he not only glared at me, he said something. He said, "You don't have to rub it in my face that you're dating my kid." I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "I know my son made that." I didn't know what to say. I thought the situation was ridiculous. I was also annoyed at him for being such a baby about everything. I took another bite of my burrito. He scowled at me and then walked away. Normally my boyfriend is 100% on my side. When I tell him about the glaring, he says it's not okay and immature. When I texted him about the burrito incident, he said I shouldn't have taken another bite in front of him. He said that was antagonistic. Was it? I feel like his dad is a grown man and should get over it. Absolutely not the arsehole in this situation. That's some wild ass behavior and 100% his problem. This grown man saw someone else eating breakfast and managed to make it about his feelings and his adult son's relationship. That's some wild ass behavior right there. To see you eating a burrito and then automatically think this is a personal attack on me. He should be looking at himself for just even thinking along those lines. And having to regulate his emotions is not something that should be on your shoulders, 100%. But Small Floral Print says not the arsehole, but you do lose some points for not dramatically dragging your tongue up the side of the burrito in the most overt, campy, performative way possible, thus making the father so uncomfortable that he stops talking to you about his son at all ever again. Big Bird's Brain says not the arsehole. Eating breakfast at work is normal, and his comment was unprofessional and personal. Taking another bite may have irritated him, but that doesn't make you responsible for a grown man projecting his feelings about his son onto a burrito. Kindly Celebration says, I'm sorry, one adult saying to another adult, you don't have to rub it in my face, you are dating X, means one of two things. He's jealous you're dating X because he wants to date X, or he thinks you're a piece of trash that's not good enough for his son and hates being reminded you exist. Either way, this needs to be resolved. This will make both your life and your work unbearable. Resolution may include breaking up and/or getting HR involved. You have a man in a senior position in the company acting incredibly inappropriately with you because of your personal relationship outside work. If you and your boyfriend have a fight and he tells daddy, you don't think he'll use his position and influence to torment you or drive you out of the job. Hell, sounds like he was ready to knock you through a wall for eating a burrito. Opie replied saying, I have really bad news about our HR department. Commenter replied saying, lol, is the dad HR? Opie replied his ex-girlfriend, who is also my best friend's stepmother, so she wouldn't want to get involved on either side. This place is actually the worst sometimes. Hazel says, not the arsehole, if I may address your boyfriend for a sec, OP, just in case he sees these comments. Dude, step the heck up and defend your partner. You know your dad is being a total jerk about this. You know your dad is weird about this. You know your dad is being unreasonable. Seriously, you said it's antagonistic for your partner to take a bite after your dad approached them, unprompted, to make him eating a breakfast into, don't rub it into my face that you're dating my son. Are you serious? Grow up and step up, man. Or your boyfriend might just decide that your dad being an a-hole isn't worth it and walk. Your dad is a weirdo and you need to put him in line. You should have put him in line ages ago. Do your job as a partner. So OP does come in with an update and says, thank you for the support in my breakfast drama. That night my boyfriend read all the comments on my post. He decided to talk to his dad, which he has done in the past, but this would be a sterner conversation. For context, my boyfriend is a big people pleaser. He loves to do things for other people. When his mum left, he did all the domestic stuff at their house, cooking, cleaning, taking care of his little siblings. I actually think this dynamic was incredibly toxic, but that's not what this post is about. He doesn't like to fight with his dad or call his dad out on his bad behavior. His dad is the kind of guy who is used to other people managing his feelings for him, and he is shocked when people don't alter their behavior to suit his desires. My boyfriend went over to his dad's and asked him to please be nice to me moving forward because we really care about each other and are happy together. I didn't get the full play-by-play of the conversation, but it must have been productive. 15 minutes ago, the dad walked up to me and invited me over for dinner on Friday. So my breakfast drama resulted in a dinner invite. Huzzah! Win! I'm sort of nervous to spend the whole meal with this guy, but I have to give it a shot. Thanks for all the advice and support. Is hoping the dad isn't as homophobic as I thought and/or is willing to get over it for his kid. And a lot of people saying that this is a win and to go into the dinner with an open mind, etc., and hopefully something good can come out of this in the end. It certainly sounds like it's going in the right direction, so I really do hope it is for OP and their partner and the family as a whole, really. But what do you guys make of this situation? It was a bizarre one. Getting that heated over a burrito is pretty wild, right? But let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. Our next story comes from breadmakesyoufaaat, who says, I feel left out at work. My boss, 40 male, and co-workers, 20 to 30 male, made the company's Christmas dinner without me. It starts, I apologize in advance for my English. So this is 50% me trying to vent because I'm too embarrassed to tell my parents and friends that I've been completely left out, and 50% trying to understand if I'm overreacting for being upset. I started my internship at this company in September, alongside other interns from different unis, but it's the same program for everyone in my country. It's due to end in March 2017. I know it's kind of one-sided to only know my version of things, but I swear that I try my hardest to be the perfect co-worker and employee. I get to work in time and clients usually compliment how I work. I also have never missed a day. I'm the only girl working there, and it's not that I don't know how to interact with guys. Most of my friends are guys, but these dudes only talk about football, poker, and gambling. If my boss tries to talk about other topics and I participate, it feels like he does everything to either not agree with me or presume I'm wrong. I usually feel a bit left out, but try to think positive. All my other friends are having great times at the internships and have great relationships with bosses and co-workers alike. So the problem. In October, my boss told everyone the company usually gives every employee €20 to spend at the Christmas dinner. When December started, my co-workers were already asking my boss which day we'd be having the Christmas, and he would either change the subject or tell them this year they couldn't have one due to budget cuts. During my internship, my uni provides 4 weeks of break, and we can choose them at any time as long as it's okay with the company in question. I asked my boss if it would be okay to take a week for Christmas, since it's really important to my family, and he said sure, and even reassured me again that they wouldn't have a Christmas dinner in the company. Today, I was running some errands near the company and decided to pay a visit to wish everyone a Merry Christmas since I didn't have a chance on my last day, and there was only the receptionist of the building there. I asked where was everyone, and he told me they all went to the company's Christmas dinner. The look on his face, he felt terrible telling me that. So yeah, I'm really upset, and I know it's probably not a big deal, but it just hurts so much because I feel like I can't win with these people. Am I overreacting? Ouch. One Kate says to the OP, sounds like your boss was really disorganized about having the dinner at all. First everyone gets $20, then it's cancelled. He might have decided last minute to take them all out. I'm guessing he would have not have gone to that much trouble to purposely not invite you. It's probably more him deciding last minute to do it, and if he thought about you at all. Deciding yet you wouldn't care, you're an intern, and also not one of the guys. Still, not great, but I don't think this is really about you. Opie says yeah, that company is really unorganized, and I might be overthinking it, but I'm not the only intern. We are 5 at the company, 3 including me are interns, and 2 including my boss are actually working there. One Kate says, I just think the likelihood of them planning specifically to not invite you is a lot less likely than them just not thinking about it and throwing together a last minute plan. Opie says, you might be right. I just thought that because overall I don't really feel like I fit in there. I guess I'm being petty. Another commenter asked OP if she felt welcome at her office, and OP said in the beginning yes. He even offered me a job after my course ends and asked me recently if our deal was still on after my course finishes. So yeah, I have no idea what I've done. So it was 3 days later after this that OP came in with an update and said, So update on this post. I was very emotional at the time, so thank you for the input. I wasn't going to mention anything. I came to work and was doing my normal routine when my boss asked if we could talk. I said, sure. He told me he knew I was here on Friday and started apologizing. I told him it wasn't a big deal and was able to maintain a straight face during the whole exchange. He told me they preferred not to invite me because I'm vegan, and they didn't want to go to another restaurant with vegan options because it would be too much work. The thing is, I'm not vegan nor vegetarian, and I've never done or said anything to make anyone think that. This is all too bizarre. After this internship finishes, I'm out. Important edit, I'm so sorry. Since I'm in a different time zone than most of you, I managed to only check Reddit now. I'm so grateful for the support. It's so sad to read that a lot of you have been through the same, but I appreciate the advice and feel less alone. Just a few things I want to clear up. This is totally my fault. I was too lazy to write, I was on my phone. I did tell him I wasn't vegan and he just gave me a blank stare and then changed the subject to apologize again. 2. It's a small company and my job there is to basically work as the HR department. It's hard to explain, but this company is really unorganized. 3. Most of you are right. I'm very naive. This is my first time working and I'm usually not a pushover, but I don't know what to do without hurting myself. 4. In the past, I've expressed to my teacher, responsible for the internships, that I'm not very happy here. Is this a reason to talk to her? I just feel like a kid in this situation and that I'm back in high school. Jockey Chan says, I guess being the only woman in the office and not fitting in with the company culture has something to do with it. Your boss wanted to make a boys' night out of it, and with you on vacation, the timing was perfect. Nacho Lobster says, it sounds like he came up with some lame excuse because he knew you found out. Be proud that you handled this in a grown-up manner, which is far more than what your boss did. Just keep doing your best and pick up any skills you can. It's only a few more months. Good luck. Commenter says, I get the feeling Christmas dinner might have been a buffet at a titty bar. Toshi Cat says, yep. Last place I worked at took clients and employees to strip clubs for celebrations, birthdays and Christmas. They were mostly cool when I started working there. But at the Christmas party, reminisced about previous years when it was all men and they could go to strip bars. Lady Orchid says, I'm sorry OP. I don't feel like I fit in with most of my co-workers and it's really tough. It's a little petty, but I've been there for almost 3 years and found out that they're all friends with each other on social media. Not one of the 7 of them have ever friended me. Stupid thing to feel left out about, but it made me sad when I realized it. The way I've gotten through work is to just focus on my actual responsibilities, which I enjoy, and try to understand that sometimes people just don't click. For me, they all have kids and are a bit older than me, and that's a big dividing factor. For you, it seems like being the only girl might be a problem. Once you're done with the internship, don't look back. Remember in future jobs to be friendly. Ask people questions about themselves to get to know them and understand that at the end of the day, you're at work to work. Hope you reply saying, that sucks too. Actually, don't have any of them on social media as well, but yeah, it just sucks. Feels like I'm in high school all over again. I'm going to try and ride these next months by doing exactly that and hope that my next internship things will be better. Thank you for writing though. And absolutely, it just certainly felt like some weak excuse not to include OP. But what do you guys make of this situation? Maybe you got a different opinion on the matter. Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being here. Truly, it's absolutely amazing. And hopefully, I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.
Wake up, get up, stretch my legs, eat some breakfast, milk and eggs, brush my teeth up, wash my face, throw my clothes on, start my day. Wake up, I can smell the smoke from the bacon. Let's go, see the sun shining from the window.